Hey all, here are OS Reviews. So earlier this year, Logitech announced that they were discontinuing its Harmony line of universal remotes, which were pretty popular as one of the more premium smart remotes that you could find, and now with them gone as a player in this market, it leaves a space that can be filled by smaller brands and alternatives. And one of those companies eager to still provide a few interesting new options would be Sofabaton. And so today we're taking a look at their X1, which is their newest universal smart remote, offers up to 60 days of battery life that can be recharged, and even compatible with Google and Alexa assistants. The remote can be set up and controlled via a companion app. This year's version also comes with a smart wireless hub that can further elongate the range, as well as you don't have to really be pointing directly at the source anymore for it to turn on. Just by using this extension hub, it can create some further intuitiveness when it comes to connectivity and setting everything up. So over 500,000 different devices, TVs, DVD players, Rokus, everything can be really controlled using this remote, and the codes can be learned. And in terms of that smart box, you can see basically it's sitting in between, and you can use that to be a little closer to where your remote actually is, and you don't have to point directly at it. Now, just like before though, this particular remote doesn't have a built-in QWERTY keyboard. So that is one thing I would still like to see, so they can probably integrate it, for example, onto the back of the remote just to make text entry and typing a little bit easier. You'll find a quick user guide along with a companion QR code that you can use to download the app from the iOS or Play Store and how to quickly set it up. We also have access to all the accessories, including the aforementioned universal hub, the new smart centerpiece that can further make connecting and controlling things even easier, is constructed out of this very glossy piano black plastic, and then we have all of the ports here on the rear that allows you to connect it up to power using USB Type-C, and then on top we have, of course, a power adapter as well as the aforementioned USB Type-C cable, and you also get a second cable as well for charging the remote. So you get two of these in the box, which is thoughtful, and then we have some of these little adapters, which again plugs into the back of the box using what looks like a 3.5mm type of plug, but actually will elongate the IR range. So now taking a closer look at the actual X1 remote, we do have an overall very compact build for something that has so many sensors and wireless connectivity options. It's actually not that much thicker than a standard regular TV remote. In fact, here it is next to an average smartphone these days. It has a 6.5-inch screen. The entire body is constructed out of a soft touch rubber material. It is a unibody, and overall it's pretty comfortable and easy to grip. It doesn't attract too much fingerprints. Again, it charges up using a standard USB Type-C port, but it also means the battery this time is integrated and can't be removed. Otherwise, on the front here we have some pretty familiar layouts compared to other TV remotes, such as even the Amazon Fire remotes. You have a conventional 4-way D-pad and an OK button, along with a scroll wheel on the top here if you prefer to use this method instead. And we also have the adjustment for volume, selecting up and down, as well as going back, home, and menu. So these are kind of Android or specialized keys that will work best with certain platforms. You also have the ability to play and pause, skip tracks, and also control up to 4 shortcuts. And finally, moving up top here, we have, of course, the pretty large display that we see, but this particular display is not touch sensitive. And here we have a quick size comparison between the new X1 on the right versus the previous generation remote from Sofabaton. This was the U1, which is also a smart universal remote with built-in Bluetooth, but we can see that notably the display here is now a lot brighter, as well as having just a larger area. It's a little bit easier to see, and it just looks a bit more clean in terms of its shape as well as design, although we also are losing out on some of the buttons. So on the previous generation U1, we did have still that traditional 1 through 9. And here's also a quick contrast, by the way, with the Amazon Fire TV remote that has that built-in microphone for Alexa support. I think it looks quite similar to the new X1 in terms of the D-pad, and it's not a bad thing. They definitely both look quite modern, almost like it belongs as part of the same family. One other improvement on the Z1 that we can make out in a darker environment is that the keys now are backlit, so it's easier to find in the dark. Now in the Sofabaton app, we're going to click on the X1 to pair to. The app will allow you to connect to the hub first using Bluetooth, and afterwards you can share your Wi-Fi password with the hub so that it can connect itself to the internet, and afterwards we are pretty much ready to go. So just tapping on the X1 hub, now we can see that the connection has succeeded, and we are able to add some devices. So if we tap to add, we can see there's going to be a list of over 500,000 different products and accessories, DVD players, TV models that we can search for just to download those codes, and after which point you'll be able to find any compatible TVs or remotes, and it will basically mirror those functionality over on the universal remote. But in our case, we have a smart TV here that's using Roku TV in collaboration with Sharp. So we can just tap on Roku here under the top section. We're going to try and add infrared functionality to our remote, tapping on next. And again, this is a TV, and afterwards it will give us with a few different things that we can try out to see if the remote is functional. We're basically sending these controls from my phone over to the hub using Wi-Fi, and then the hub is then communicating with the TV using infrared. So the distance there is going to be pretty much unlimited as long as the hub is relatively close to where your television or other products are. So let's try out if some of these preset keys are working correctly on the TV here by default or not. For example, we have a mute key. If I tap on this, you can see it is indeed corresponding with the actual television. So it looks like the calibration is done just fine, and everything has been already transferred over, all being functional. So we're satisfied. I'm just going to use the kind of code from here. I'm going to label this as a TV, calling it Roku, and I'm going to complete the setup, the code library, basically all the different infrared bands are going to be then transferred over to the hub, so it's getting saved as a profile. So I can also use my phone to tap on the TV, for example, just to turn it on. In fact, we have a virtual control pad, which is pretty interesting, and there's almost no lag or delay. Now let's take a closer look at what happened to our remote, by the way. So the remote should have automatically synced with the hub as well. So if we go over to our devices, we can see it's also been automatically updated to show Roku, which is pretty cool. So I can tap on this, and after which point you can see we have several different selections actually. The screen is showing us the virtual numbers from 0 to 9. So as aforementioned, these are missing from the button placement, but they've still tried to bring it back onto the display. Scrolling down past the numbers, we also get the other more traditional keys that you can find for controlling things. So on our Roku TV, that includes going between the different HDMI sources, changing between channels, going to the navigation keys, Netflix, shortcuts to different video applications, volume. These things can all be navigated, and it's a pretty fast and intuitive process. So the remote is basically connecting also to the hub, either using infrared directly or using Wi-Fi. So as long as it's within that relative proximity, everything is working just fine. I can also point it at other directions, and that doesn't really matter. It's a very sensitive remote. So let's say we want the remote to also learn something like for the sound bar, which is going to be from a smaller brand, definitely not really mainstream and harder for it to find. So we can see that using this included infrared remote, we are able to do things like turn the sound bar on or off, but how do we actually connect it to our devices? So this time around we're going to tap on add, but instead of searching by brand, we're going to tap on via the manual learning mode. Now what we have to do is basically learn the buttons one by one. So for example, if we want to add the functionality for power, we can just type this in ourselves, and afterwards learn this function from the original remote that we have here. The power key I'm going to press and point it at the device, so now it's learned this button, as you can see there. Now back onto this main tab of devices, we can also see our speaker that's showing up. We can find all of our controls that we've customized here on the side and have the ability to turn it on or off, as well as control the volume. And of course, we can even add Bluetooth remotes. The process would be also the same, just by tapping on the via Bluetooth mode icon. And there's even some preset recommendations, such as having the ability to learn from a Fire TV or an NVIDIA Shield. So basically, Fire TV remotes are connected using Bluetooth to those TV dongles. So if you tap on this, it will basically be able to just learn that code over automatically, since that's a very popular device. Under activities, it's really similar to devices, but you have some slightly more granular control in terms of the products that you've already paired. Shortcut buttons to do things depending on what you want to customize, whether that's going to be volume, controlling the TV versus controlling the Roku versus something else, and you can map and actually change each of these buttons, as well as even look for the remote. There is a small speaker built into the remote, so if you tap on this, it will actually create a beeping sound on the remote control. So if it's shoved underneath a sofa, for example, you can kind of find it more easily. It's worth noting that you can install the companion app on more than one phone or even tablet, and because all of them will just connect to the hub using Wi-Fi, technically you can also get quote-unquote unlimited additional remotes just by using other mobile devices. Alright, so that's more or less it as far as our hands-on review of the Sofabaton Z1. Again, it's another smart universal remote from this company that offers a pretty decent value in terms of the fact that you can control almost everything using this through its combination of Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, as well as conventional infrared. It's able to clone and learn any code and control virtually everything. Overall, it does have a much larger display, which is pretty attractive to see, and it is quite easy to learn and master everything. Controls are all intuitive, construction quality feels solid, a pretty smart ecosystem that they've designed, definitely an improvement compared to some of their earlier smart remotes that we've seen. So you can learn more details in the links down below, but for now that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the Sofabaton